Hi y'all, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, hi, I'm Melody. On this channel, I like to discuss fragrances every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So if that's something you're interested in, please subscribe down below. Today I am packing up my fragrances. We're moving in about a week and I'm in a bit of a hurry because in about an hour I need to be packed up and ready to go to stay with my daughter in the hospital. So we don't know exactly how many days left she has in there, but I just need to hurry and get the fragrances dealt with because I might not be back to pack the remaining stuff before our move-in date. And so I wanted to just get this done. This is just a chatty video. So if you like those kind of things, I'd love it if you would continue watching. I'm just going to be talking about life and things like that. So anyways, if that interests you, I'd love it if you'd keep watching. So I have the drawer that was right here down on the floor with most of my fragrances, and then I have my little fragrance tray that I keep out, and then I have this bin full of all my boxes. I keep my boxes for several reasons. One, I kind of like just the packaging of most of them. I think it's well thought out, and when it's like a nice, well thought out box, I like to keep it. Otherwise, I hold on to them for purposes like this if I have to move it. And lastly, if I don't care for the fragrance, I'd rather have the box so I can sell it with the box. So I'm just going to start grabbing containers and filling them with fragrances and throwing them in the box. I won't be throwing them in the box, but I don't, as pretty as these are, I do not like pulling from the bottom, especially when the fragrance is in there. It often like topples out. But so we are moving next week to like a really lovely neighborhood. It's filled with like a bunch of families and stuff, and we're in North Texas. And sorry for the clinking. I don't know if people are going to be bothered by the clinking because there will be a lot of it. But so it's we live in North Texas, and a lot of the homes here are those brick ranch style homes, and then those just larger brick, more modern homes. And while they're nice, it's like not my style at all. I grew up in the Pacific Northwest with like a lot of craftsman style homes and things of that nature, and lots of trees and stuff. And there's so many like newer residential areas around here, so like all the trees are tiny, and it's just not what I grew up with, and I don't care for it. But this neighborhood, while there are many reasons we liked it, part of it was that all these houses are meant to look like craftsman or colonial style houses. They were all intentionally built, and they have quite an extensive list of requirements for like paint colors of the homes and things like that. But we're renting right now, so we're not painting the house. But they have the houses at different depths on the yard, so it looks like an older neighborhood, even though it's been around for about 20 years. The portion we're moving into was more recently built, but they've got like a lovely community center. They've got like a pool with water slides and stuff. They've got soccer fields for our girls to play at, because two of our girls play soccer. They also have basketball courts. They even have like a little lake that they stock with fish, which I grew up fishing, and so that's something I would like to do with my girls, but we don't do that outdoor stuff so much nowadays. But I'm just really excited to move there. We've been living with the in-laws for quite some time. We moved back to Texas when my youngest was like 6 months old. We were living in Oregon, and the more we discussed it, the more it seemed untenable to continue living in Portland. For a number of reasons, we just felt like it was a good idea to move back to Texas, and that's where my husband's from and his family's here. And so we moved back in the fall of 2016, and we intended to just stay with the in-laws through the winter, like for like a handful of months, and then we were going to get our own place. And we were there for a month when I had a grand mal seizure, and turns out I had a benign meningioma, so a brain tumor. Now meningiomas grow really slow, but mine was the size of like a large Myers lemon, a meningioma. So they grow really slow. But my surgeon said I likely had it since I was born or when I was really young. But I never suffered with headaches. I, at that point, had never had a seizure or anything. I played rugby in high school, and I have 2 concussions from that. And neither time did I get a brain scan or anything, which is actually, in the long run, a blessing. Because I was put on seizure medication. And if you know anything about seizure medication, it's really hard to have children if you're on that medication. It's really bad for the baby's brain and stuff. So I'm still on seizure medication years later, and I've had probably a dozen seizures at this point, all grand mal, most of them in my sleep. But anyways, so I had the brain surgery, and what was I saying? So I wouldn't have had my children if they had done a brain surgery when I was a teen, and then I continued to be on seizure medication. So it's a blessing that it wasn't found, I suppose. But I had the surgery, removed the brain tumor, and so there was a lot of recovery from that. And I had 3 kids, and one of them under the age of 1, and then a special needs kid was about almost 3. And then that spring, I went through radiation treatment for the remainder of what was left, because there was a little bit that was, I think pituitary gland is what they said. So I went through that, and I was doing just fine. Wasn't having any seizures. Things were really going well. And then that fall, I started having seizures very frequently. And my husband was working away from home, and we had 3 kids. And my husband just didn't feel comfortable with us moving while I was having these seizures. So we decided to stay with the in-laws, which honestly has been a blessing. A lot of people, if I mentioned that I lived with my in-laws for so long, they go, oh my gosh, I could never do that. But they're really the sweetest people. And of course, there are times where it can get on people's nerves being around others for so long. But we were there. Then my mother-in-law's parents, they're elderly, they moved in. And then my husband's one of 5 boys, and he's older than many of them. And so some of them were still in school and living here. And then one of them moved back for a reason. And so at one point there were like 13 people and 4 dogs under one roof. So it was a bit of a madhouse. But I mean, there were many good things that came out of that time. And so then we started looking again at moving. And then our middle daughter, she had to go in for her 3rd surgery. So it was supposed to happen like right after her birthday. So, and she has a summer birthday. And then she caught some kind of virus. We don't know exactly what it was, so she couldn't have the surgery. And then when they went to do it again, she was underweight, so we had to postpone the surgery again, and then they tested her once more. She had the virus once again. There's a siren, so the dogs are barking. They're my mother-in-law's dogs. So it was postponed until like the following spring, and the surgery didn't necessarily go as planned. This is one of the 3 surgeries that we were aware of. These were ones that we planned since she was born. We knew she was going to have the surgery. And so it was like a 10-hour surgery, and she had to have a valve put in. And then afterwards, she started having her own seizures. And we were, just a variety of reasons, we decided it was best to stay at the in-laws so that we could be at the hospital with her and our other girls could be looked after. And so we waited. And then we started looking again. This was like fall of 2019. And so we found this really great place, and it was in Fort Worth. And we had to wait on the place because the renter, super nice gentleman, was helping this young woman who was having issues finding a home, let her stay there. So we said, oh, that's fine, having a renter who would be so willing to, do that. We thought, well, that'd be great. And so we decided we'd wait, and we were supposed to move in February of 2020. And I was praying about it, and it didn't feel right to me. I didn't know why, but it was causing me a lot of anxiety, to the point of panic attacks. And I didn't know why that was. And I was talking to my husband about it and how scared I was. And I talked to my in-laws about it, and I wound up talking to friends at my church about it. And I got a variety of different answers that, God doesn't give you a spirit of fear. And while I don't know if the fear came from that, but I was really concerned that something bad might happen if we moved there. So we decided to wait. I decided, it's pretty far away, and our daughter's having more seizures, and it'll be harder for her to get to a doctor that we're familiar with, because we're north of Dallas. So Fort Worth is about an hour away. It's the first Wednesday of the month, so that's the tornado siren. So getting back on track. I told you this would be chatty. I don't know if you guys are enjoying this at all, but so we didn't move, which was, at the time, a frustration for many. Why we wouldn't be moving, even though we did the whole process, application fee, yada, yada, yada. And it was all anticipated. Well, we were supposed to move in February of 2020, and a month later, COVID hit. So I feel grateful that I had that kind of feeling, not to move, because my husband was working from home at this point, and I haven't had seizures in a few years, although I still have that seizure aura, and so I've learned to handle that. But my husband was also doing Uber and things, and he was driving people to and from the airport, which isn't something he could be doing, and while COVID's happening. So we lost a portion of the income that was coming in, and then his job that he had was really coming to slow down at that point with COVID and everything. So he was then looking for additional work. And so for a myriad of reasons, it was really best to just continue to stay here with the in-laws. And because at that point, I would say a few months into COVID, we were in a place where we were actually looking at buying. But things were just kind of getting worse. The real estate market was crazy, and so we we've just been here. I mean, it seems like, honestly, as I'm talking, like a bunch of excuses as to why we just were at the in-laws, but we were grateful for the time here and the time that the girls were able to spend with their great-grandfather before he passed. And my mother-in-law was grateful for all the help that we all contributed to her taking care of him at his age and all the assistance needed. And so he's passed away, and now everybody is, it's time to move on and do our own things and all of that. And so we're looking forward to this new time, new chapter in our life. The girls have needed their own space. And which one is this? And I think everybody has just really needed their own space. But I am just so grateful to my in-laws for allowing us to stay here through all of our stuff. It's one of those things that I was really embarrassed with for a while, that we were here for so long, but I'm reminded a lot of how helpful it's been for everyone, just because of how crazy it's been. So I just turned 30, and we have 3 children. And when I was in my early 20s and had my first daughter, I was honestly a little embarrassed that I didn't do things the typical way, go to college, get married, buy a house, start having a family and stuff. And I went to college. I was a little embarrassed, and I often wouldn't tell people my age or whatnot, because I just felt like I didn't do the things the right way. I went to college, and then while in college, I got pregnant with our oldest, and my husband and I still continued to go to college, and then we moved, and life got hectic, and I was no longer in school, and I love school. I discussed going back, and I'm a stay-at-home mom, so if I go back, then I can't homeschool, yada yada yada. There's a dozen and one reasons why I'm not going, but I do love it. I thrived in college, but I was always kind of embarrassed by the fact that I felt like I failed, and I don't want people to think oh, I regret my children or anything. I absolutely love being a mom and having my girls when I did, because like I mentioned with the brain tumor, I was 21 when I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer, and then I was 24 when I had the brain tumor removed. So with all of that, if I had waited to have kids, I wouldn't have kids. And so I feel like I'm so blessed to have the family that I do, and be married into such a sweet and loving family. If it weren't for them, I don't think I'd be a Christian. So this is where I start getting all teary-eyed. So I just feel like I've been so grateful to have the support that I do. But it has been difficult with everything lately, and that's for everybody, as much as I complain about how rough it's been. Everyone has had it rough these last few years, and I'm kind of grateful for a lot of it to be over. Sorry for the rambling, trying to get the box filled. But as I was saying, I'm just grateful for the life that I have with the husband I have, and my children, and things are good. I'm no longer in that place where I feel embarrassed or bad about the choices I've made or decisions I have or haven't made, I guess. Anyways, I just wanted to say that I am really grateful for where I am in life, and I am grateful for all of you guys who come back every week and support my channel by just, you know, watching and encouraging me. I mean, it is quite a bit of work, you know, filming and editing. Some of my videos take a bit more time, and I have young kids, so it can be difficult, but I really enjoy doing this for myself. It's a hobby that I never really had before, but it was something just for me. You know, when you are a mom, you wind up doing a lot of things for other people. There were a lot of hobbies I had before that I feel like kind of gone by the wayside. I would call it like a part-time photographer. I've always been really into photography, but there's, you know, reasons why I don't do it full-time. And that's a goal for maybe this year or sometime this fall. I might start it back up and hopefully go full-time with that. But I really just appreciate everybody who supports me here, watching my videos, and I'm just really grateful that I found this like community, and I really enjoyed just sitting here chatting about life with all of you. Yeah, that's just what I've been up to. I realized that I packed all of my fragrances, and I probably should keep one or two of them out for the time being. So I'll have to go through the box and figure that out, and I still need to pack all of this stuff behind me. I'm keeping out the clean reserve set so I can test this out for my next exploring video. I've done 2 already. I've done the 7 Virtues and Juliet Has a Gun, and I wasn't very nice to those, but I've done my first impressions on these, and I think this is actually something I like a little bit more. But I really hope you've enjoyed this video. I know it's not super exciting. It's not like a top 10 video or, you know, best video haul video. It's none of that. It's just me sitting here discussing my life with friends, you know, just kind of thinking about, you know, the last 5 years, last 10 years. I mean, my daughter's turning 10, so really thinking about, you know, where I am and where I've been and what I'm hoping, you know, we'll get to. So anyhow, I really appreciate everyone who's subscribed. I think as of right now, I have like almost 200 subscribers, so that's really exciting. I know that's super small, but I'm really grateful for everybody who has subscribed and everybody who watches and comments and, you know, gives my family prayers during, you know, these difficult times. So I'm just really grateful for everybody, and I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give it a like. If you like my content, this is not really like my typical content. I guess this is kind of like a long form video of my weekly videos where I just talk about me. But if you enjoy any of my videos, I would love it if you would subscribe. That really just helps out my channel a bunch. But I am so grateful for all of you, and I hope you really have a blessed day. Bye.